Happy Terminal Tuesday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Orhun. I work on Ratatouille and other terminal things that you might like using. We have a very special guest here, but before that, Coco, welcome to another episode, man. How's it going?
Yeah, it's doing good. It's been a long time actually since the last session.
Yeah,
Glad to be back.
yeah. We now have an editor. Shout out to Samuel. So we might put out episodes more quickly. So back to our guest, Aram, Emsnif, Zellij. Welcome. How's it going?
2 out of 3. Hi, how are you doing?
We doing fine. We are, I don't know, hanging out in the terminal, I guess. We are super excited to
Mm,
have you and talk about one of the, I think, most used multiplexers that is out there today. Can we say that about Zellij? Probably.
you tell me. I have no idea. I just try to
Pro
make good software.
Yeah. So let's talk about who are you and how did Zellij begin?
Okay. So I'll start saying something about myself. I am Aram. I'm a terminal developer. I've been like kind of developing and hacking on open source for 25 years. I've always developed in the terminal. I come from a systems background, so my first language after Bash was Perl. That was back then. And so I kind of started writing code inside Vim. As I moved on to other languages, I kind of stayed in Vim. People told me, yeah, one day you'll want a proper IDE. The day has still not come. I still develop in Vim. So as a terminal developer, as I guess many people listening know, you kind of have to build your own environment. So you have your text editor, and then you want to be able to spawn commands, to spawn panes, to have like all the static code analysis and things around that. When you start building automation of like open this pane and then open this pane and do that, then you kind of start gathering a soup of bash scripts or however it is that you develop. So my original intent with Zellij was to kind of make a tool that will allow that to be trivial, so that you'll be able to have your editor in the middle or whatever it is you do in your terminal, and then have kind of stuff around it. You'll be able to configure it to do what you want, but you won't have to configure it because it will give you a great experience out of the box. And that was the inception of Zellij. With time, it kind of developed, as like, I know you created many projects yourself, so you probably know this, that once you build, you kind of discover what other stuff there is in the problem space that you're building and what other stuff your tool can do. So in the past years, I kind of started thinking about Zellij as a 2D shell, because I'm thinking, all these amazing terminal tools and innovations that we have, much of them talk about what you can do in one line. Like a fish shell, for example, my favorite shell, allows you to have like auto completions and remember commands and kind of remember your habits. But all of this is like, eventually you're writing pipelines, and you have this, like the rest of this amazing box that is two-dimensional, and you can do like so much, such cool stuff with it. And this is the solution that Zellij is slowly becoming.
I remember when I first saw Zellij on GitHub, and it was not even called Zellij back then. It was called Mosaic, right? And
Very long time. Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. And now I wonder, like, what's the story behind its name? And uh, you started this by yourself, and then was it like it became a community, or how did it actually start? Like side project and then became Zellij, or how did it became Zellij?
So Mosaic was the first name, but it was always going to be like kind of a code name because it's I don't know how like how many people are old enough to remember, but around the 90s, there was a famous browser called Mosaic that later kind of in a way became Netscape, that later kind of in a way became Firefox. So the name is taken up everywhere. It would be like a lot of fighting with everyone about like namespaces and such. So I looked into, actually not even me, one of the other original maintainers looked into kind of similar stuff that we want to say, because what do we want to say with Mosaic? We want to say we have different tiles that do different things, look differently, and together make like a whole picture. And then we discovered Zellij, which is a type of, if I'm not mistaken, it's a Moroccan architecture. That is essentially this type of mosaic, but part of their culture. And they use it to create many different pieces. I think they break pottery and such into many different pieces, and then glue them into kind of one picture that it may be of like many small pieces. And I found that very beautiful, and I found that to be like a very nice metaphor to what we were building. So that's how the name came about.
I didn't know about that. That's pretty impressive. I guess we learned something new. So, okay, so Zellij is a terminal multiplexer. It gives you a workspace that you can use basically in the way that you want in the terminal. You can split, you can have windows, tabs, you can have layouts and so on. So I wonder, like, how are you exploring those new features these days? Because when you think about, for example, the OG like tmux or screen and so on, they just are like splitting the screen and gives you like two shells to work with. So what are you working in Zellij these days, and what are the new features that you have added?
So this release, yeah, okay, two separate questions, but I'll start with the end.
Yeah.
So this release, in this release, we added native handling of nested sessions. So that kind of, this is a problem that a lot of people have, that they both have their Zellij locally, and they're working remotely on a server, and they also have Zellij running there. So if you have kind of the situation, you're SSHing into the server, then you reach a point where you have Zellij inside Zellij, and it is kind of super uncomfortable to work with it. So for this release, we built a protocol that means that Zellij immediately discovers that this is a situation, then like pops up a window and asks you, hey, like, I think you're running Zellij inside Zellij. Do you want me to kind of manage this for you? And if you say yes, then like you have one UI that manages both sessions. You have your breadcrumbs on the side of the screen that you can kind of click, and I want to go to the outside session, I want to go to the inside session. You can do 3-4 levels in if you want. And another feature that we've added is one that I personally don't use so much, but has been much long requested, which is support for the Kitty graphics protocol to display images in the terminal. This is something that you kind of need your terminal emulator itself to support it, but for a long while, Zellij has been a blocker because we haven't been able to render those images back to your terminal. So now we can, and we do it. And as opposed to other multiplexers, we don't do it in a way that is kind of just like, yeah, okay, send bytes through us, and you figure out where to put the picture between the program and the terminal. It's a full implementation. We fully interpret it, meaning that if you put a picture inside a floating pane, for example, and you move the pane around, then we know to kind of do the same thing and like associate the photo with the pane. We support scrolling, etc. And another feature that we've added is one that like I didn't know this was a thing until users pointed it out to me, but there is one of the newer escape sequences called OSC 133 allows you to kind of distinguish between different commands in your scrollback. So this means that if you type ls, then you type echo hi, and then you type, I don't know, cargo test, then you're able to kind of distinguish where each command, where the output of each command begins and ends. This means that you can scroll by commands and not just by lines, which is very cool. You're able to do like triple click with the mouse on a command and then have all of it like kind of marked so you can copy its output, stuff like that. What else did we add? Much like it was a big release. These are like kind of the things that come to mind.
I also seen Zellij Online.
Yeah.
You want to maybe talk
Yes.
about that?
Yeah, happily. So Zellij Online is a service that me and some of the other Zellij maintainers are building. And it's all about terminal sharing and streaming. When it's online, we're right now building it, there's a waitlist. Then you will be able to share a link to your terminal with whoever you want. They put this link either in their browser, their terminal, or we'll also add access through SSH. And then both of you are collaborating on a session. It can be full read-write so that they can write and collaborate with you on your terminal. Kind of have the built-in Zellij thing where each one of you has a different cursor with a different color. You'll be able to like kind of distinguish who does what. Or you can make it read-only, which I think could be interesting for people like you if you want to do streaming, for example, so people can follow your terminal from their terminal. So this is a service that is going to be paid. It's going to have a free tier, of course, but we run servers for it. We also put like a lot of human effort into maintaining the service as well, uptime, things of that sort. So, yeah, been working on that for a while.
Is this something similar to Teammate?
It's very similar to Teammate, yes. In addition to the features that Teammate has, Teammate, by the way, is offline. I am sorry to say the person like was very kind and kept the servers on for free for I think 10 years or something like that, but recently called it quits. But there are a few other services like this. What we will be able to do in addition is we are very much concentrating on privacy and security. So each session will be end-to-end encrypted, meaning that the terminal traffic, both STD in and STD out, that passes through our service is completely encrypted, and even we are blind to it. So this is not. I feel this is not just important from like a security perspective, so that like people won't be able to like crack into your session. It's also important because, like, imagine if an oppressive government comes to me and asks me, like, this user, give me their root password. So at this point, I'll be able to like honestly tell them, sorry, can't. Like, I'm physically unable to do that. So yeah, in addition to this, terminal streaming, of course, so that you won't have to like your own terminal won't have to manage each of these sessions. Like imagine you are streaming to like I don't know, a million people. You don't want a million people to kind of be connected to your computer, even if it's just read only. You want a server to manage that. So we'll do this for you, the multiplexing, both in the browser, on the terminal, again.
The other day, I was talking to a friend who might be listening to us right now, and we were just brainstorming about an ideal shared multiplexer tool. And one thing that we have landed on is sending our terminal traffic to a server is always a concern. And you said you're gonna have end-to-end encryption to at least, you know, make it a bit more secure. But is Zellij Online gonna support like connecting between clients by any chance, so that I don't go through a server and I can just connect to my machine through web or something? Or is this something that is already available through Zellij Web maybe?
If you use Zellij Web, then you can do it on your own. Like essentially, a lot of questions that, or rather, I have received the questions many times. Will you allow people to self-host this? And the answer is that this is already possible, as you say, with Zellij Web. Zellij includes a web server. You can start it from Zellij. It connects to your, like it listens on your interface. And then people can connect to your session, either from the browser or from their terminal. You can do Zellij attach HTTPS your server / your session, and it just works. Of course, I would recommend you do stuff like put a firewall in front of it. Be careful defining your port forwarding and stuff like that. But yeah, for sure, it works. You don't have to pass through our server if you don't want to.
So I'm wondering about in the recent weeks, let's say, there's a hype around multiplexers, and I think it comes from the adoption of AI as well. So do you see Zellij playing a part in this, and how do you see the future of the terminal ecosystem when it comes to AI? Like how AI is affecting you right now, and how is it gonna affect Zellij in the upcoming years, let's say?
So this is actually a super interesting question. I've been thinking about it for a while. And I think it's more interesting to talk, like to kind of take a step back and to talk like not about the future, but about the present, about like where we are. Because as I said about myself, I'm sure this is a terminal meetup, so I'm sure many people watching are the same. I'm a terminal developer. I live in the terminal. I've been living in the terminal for many years. Every time I meet a new person, like to collaborate with, go to like, I don't know, start a new job, whatever, and this person suddenly discovers that I'm developing in Vim. And they're always like, what the hell, really? Like there's that disbelief in the beginning, like, is this person serious with me? And then they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You do your thing, and they go back to their VS Code or whatever. Now, today, with the advent of LLMs and coding agents, everyone is going to the terminal. Like VS Code is dead, as far as I know. If people are going to a terminal first kind of workflow, I feel we've won. So, like, to me, this is the most significant thing. Everyone is going to the terminal. This ecosystem is getting like a lot of attention, for good and bad. But, yeah.
So that's are you saying that that's the side effect of the changing world towards AI, or do you believe that that was going to happen anyways at some point, whether there was AI or not?
I never thought this was going to happen. I thought, if you asked me 10 years ago, I would say, like, seems like people are going more and more towards graphical environments. I think I'm going to, like, you know, be one of the last people standing, like, gripping Vim and saying, like, you're going to take this from my cold, dead hands. And I never believed this would happen. I think this happened both because all of these coding agents run in the terminal, and because the terminal is an environment that allows you, it's kind of an interface that is identical whether you are a human or a machine. And and machines more and more are using interfaces because of LLMs.
When I shared about this episode on social media, a lot of people got excited, and I see like nowadays everyone knows about terminal multiplexer, and I did a quick search the other day about the new projects, and there's like a terminal multiplexer project coming out almost every day. Like someone is just like burning their tokens to create another terminal multiplexer. It got extremely popular, and people ask a lot about the agentic focused multiplexers versus Zellij. So I just have to like ask you, and this is like we have a questions from community section in my notes, and that's one of the questions. People are curious, how do you plan to compete, if you're competing at all, with the agent focused tools like Herder or Michel Hashimoto recently announced Superlogical. There's other things out there, but like, what are your plans, and what do you think?
I think I can look at this question in like a few different ways. Like I'll first answer the technical way. So technically, Zellij is not an agent first LLM native tool. Not intended to be. It was like there before these things existed, and like this is not what we do. So like with these tools, and like I don't know a lot of them. I've looked a little bit, like Herder, for example. I looked at it. It looks super cool. I was very happy to see such a tool existed. But these tools are agent native. These tools are like, what I do in the terminal is run swarms of agents. I want to be able to manage them through a central interface. I want to be able to easily allow them to speak to me and to speak to each other. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. That's not what we do. A lot of people have built similar experiences on top of Zellij. If you go, we have like an awesome Zellij repo. I think at this point there's even like a coding agent or LLM section there, and you can find a lot of solutions that will give you the same experience. I was always like in the opinion that what we're building is an application development platform. So I'm very happy to see these sorts of use cases that are being built on top of Zellij. I don't plan to compete with them. I don't want to. I think we're doing different things. Second part of the question is kind of in the business side, because you mentioned Michel Hashimoto, for example. So like I don't know Michel Hashimoto, of course. He seems like a nice person. I hear good things about his software. I wish him well. I am a little bit concerned about I call it the VCification of the terminal ecosystem. So this is kind of a personal opinion. I don't think VCs, like venture capital funding, is a good way to create software. I think it generally, like if your company is funded by venture capital, especially if you give out your product for free, which most of us developers expect to happen, then the interests of your company are often the interests of your investors. Your investors put a lot of money into your company and they want to see a return. And for things like that, I'm wondering, okay, I really want to understand what your business model is, what role I as a user play in your business model before I install your application on my computer, definitely before I type my root password into your application. Right now, I don't have this understanding. So personally, I'm not installing these tools.
This brings the question, do you right now live from Zellij and open source? Because I've seen in many releases and in your social media, you have GitHub sponsorships. We will leave that link in the description if anyone wants to support Zellij or your efforts. Do you right now solely depend on sponsorships, or how do you handle working on an open source tool and also surviving?
So I am supported by sponsorships. Sponsorships cover, I would say, about 70–80% of my expenses. And the rest I live from my savings. And of course, I'm a kind of a person who lives kind of frugally. So if I would be going like to get like a proper job, then like I would be getting much more than I would expect to get from an open source project. So the sponsorships, you know, they go up, they go down. The general trend is up. So I'm like I'm optimistic. But then one of the reasons that we're building Zellij Online right now is to be able to sustain the project in like a way that is not just sponsorships, but is like you as a user pay for a good service that we provide you.
Yeah, as a fellow open source developer who also get a job, but I respect your efforts in this, and you know, guys, if you like Zellij, go ahead and sponsor it. I think I'm sponsoring Zellij, but I don't remember. I think I am. Anyways,
Get stickers.
I think I have stickers. I've seen you in 2023, and I got stickers from you. I think
Right. Yeah.
Rust Lab. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Cool.
In Florence.
Yeah, Florence.
Hmm.
All right. So
You know where we've met before, though. I know I was thinking about this today. The first time that I saw your name online was back in, I guess it must have been 2018, 2019, when like Ratatouille was still called TUI RS.
yeah,
And I think the two of us were one of the first, like we were the first, I think, of the first 2 or 3 people that like built a full-fledged application in TUI RS. And we did like a pull request to the repository and said, list the application here. So
oh my
for
God.
me, it was Bandwidth. For you, Amon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where I remember you from.
Wow, it's been a long time. Yeah, nice. Open source, guys. Open source brings all of us together. That's nice. Cool. I'm curious about some of the WebAssembly aspects of Zellij. So you guys have a plugin system. And some people have asked some questions about this. Mainly, there's one question about how WebAssembly plugins affect the memory usage of Zellij.
So let me just take a step back. Let me just take a step back and talk about like the WebAssembly plugin system, why it was needed, and like what's its status right now. Originally, when I started Zellij, one of the things that it was really important for me to do was out of the bat start with a plugin system, so that we won't have the thing of like we built this huge product and now we want to like kind of insert a plugin system into it. So we would regret doing that. Back then, WebAssembly was new, it was on the rise, and it seemed like a solution that would be super interesting. Like having the ability to create full-fledged applications that run in the browser, that run wherever you have a WebAssembly runtime, like kind of the promise of what like the JVM from the Java world, like used to be the code once, run anywhere. But as the years progressed, like it's a really great technology. It's a really great ecosystem, but I think they're encountering a lot of problems that, for me, as an embedder, as an implementer, as a person who uses their technology inside my product, don't matter. talking about a lot of hardware compatibility with regards to multiple threads and things of that sort. And I'm like, I just need multiple. I don't need to run on every kind of architecture and things of that sort. So the reason we originally did this plugin system the way we did was to remove the barrier of entry to people who want to write plugins. Because many applications have like, you need to know Lua in order to run plugins, you need to know Python, you need to know Rust, you know, whatever. And if you're not a developer of one of these languages, then like you have to do a lot of work just to write a plugin. That barrier does not really exist today. So that concern is kind of gone. The second concern was the sandboxing, because a lot of these multiplexers where they have a plugin system, they kind of want you to have an application that runs directly on the machine of the person running the multiplexer, and then communicating with the multiplexer with bash, any kind of commands. It's a great way to have a communication layer because everyone speaks bash, everyone can just like invoke your commands. But I think it's kind of a security concern because every plugin has access to your machine, can run commands on your machine. So WebAssembly plugin system kind of gave us sandboxing to allow us to have your plugin run in a sandbox, not be able to do anything unless you specifically give it permissions to do so. This is a concern that still exists, but right now, in my opinion, it's basically the only concern. So this is kind of a long way to get back to your question and to say that yes, our WebAssembly plugins have a large memory footprint. They are larger than if they were written in Lua or in similar languages, for sure. This is the trade-off. This is why we did it. Back then, that was the right technology to use. Today, I'm not sure I would make the same choice.
I remember you gave this talk about a plugin system at Rust Lab, right? It was about plugins, yeah.
Yep.
Since then, I think I've gave it a try once. I tried to build a Ratatouille layer for Zellij. It worked fine. It was fine. So yeah. Are there like so, for example, for these new multiplexers like Herder, they have this plugin system where they have like community plugins. They seem quite popular. For Zellij, do you get submissions or like new plugins every now and then, or are they being developed by the community? How integrated Zellij with them these days? Do you get like out of the box experience, or do you need to usually install some plugins to use Zellij in a like a productive way? How people do it these days?
So to like the first question, we get people write Zellij plugins all the time. We have like an awesome Zellij repository. We get plugin submissions. We have one of the maintainers is just on that repository, and like they're not keeping up. We get submissions all the time. Lots of different stuff. Many people like do kind of the agent swarm stuff management. Or to have plugins to give you the experience of like, here's a window, here's what your agents are doing, allow them to talk to each other, things of that sort. Your other question about like, do you need to download plugins? One of the things that was important to me and still is important to me about Zellij is to give you an amazing experience out of the box. Be able to like, you start Zellij and it just works. You don't need to do anything else. And if you want to configure it, if you want it to behave differently, if you want it to look differently, you can add, there's lots of like different status bars, different tab bars, different session managers. Yeah, but like you really don't have to.
Actually, one of the users asked, why has the default design remained visually prominent? Any plans to make it less intrusive?
I think default UI serves two kinds of users. Serves users who are new to your application and users who don't like to configure anything. In my opinion, the UI serves these two groups well. People who are new to the application, they can they have a help bar on the bottom that tells them exactly what they can do, follows them through the modes and say, in this mode you can do this, in this mode you can do this. And then if you don't know or you don't remember, you can just keep looking at it. This is also true for the second group, for the group that kind of doesn't like to configure anything. And maybe they're occasional users, maybe they have it running on their server, and they kind of jump into it and want to do something, and it's like, how was it? How do you open a floating pane? How do and you don't have to look for a cheat sheet. It's just there. That being said, one of the things that happened in this latest version is that we did a revamp to some parts of the UI. So we used to have these pane frames around every terminal pane rather. So now the pane frames are gone, and instead of them, we have like the usual multiplexer separator plus the title of the pane. So instead of taking a box of 4 like lines around your pane, then we just take one, which shows the title of the pane, either the title we get from the program running inside the terminal, or the title, the custom title that you kind of give it. We added also something on top of that, that if you just have one pane in the tab, then we don't even do that. The title is the title of the tab, and that's it. So it would be less intrusive.
Yeah.
I guess it's a matter of opinion.
Yeah. I think the question is a bit harsh, but if you want the the views to take less space, you can always do that. In my Zellij config, I have literally nothing, just like a tab number on the bottom right, just like 1, 2, 3, 4 something, and that's it. And it's like no text, no, like there's like a little colored box that indicates which mode I am in, whether if I'm in the locked mode or like pane mode or whatever.
Nice.
And that's it. And that's usually enough for me, and I memorize all the key bindings. I like rarely use some of them, so I forgot, but it just works. So you can basically configure stuff whatever you like.
Yeah, that's the third group.
Third group.
Yeah, people who like to configure their stuff, and they can configure the interface, as you say, to be whatever they like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coco.
But I think it's the right choice to have this interface more like this default interface more user-friendly to beginners, because I mean people who want to really use it daily and customize it are gonna go the extra length of customizing it and hiding this UI. So this makes more sense to have it first beginner friendly than advanced user friendly.
Coco, do you have any questions that you wanna ask, or anything from the chat? I couldn't really track it.
Yeah, I did get one question from the chat, I think at the beginning, right around the time where you were mentioning the addition of Kitty image protocol in the latest release. By the way, I just looked at the latest release and it's crazy the amount of features that's in there. So I was trying Zellij on the side while you were talking and I was blown away. So I need to give it another try this week. But the question of this user was, since you mentioned that you did not really yourself use image rendering in the terminal, he was wondering if you were using any terminal file manager to navigate your system, or if you didn't have a usage for this, because usually these file managers support image rendering.
I used to. Back in the day, I used Ranger. Not sure what happened to Ranger. But when Zellij kind of started out, we included a file manager with it, inspired by Ranger. So because we're Tolkien geeks, we called it Strider. I was using that for a while. I even revamped it in one of the Zellij releases, but eventually, these days, I mostly just use Fish. Use Fish's auto-completion. Fish seems to know what I want to do better than me. So when I type PI and start typing a file name, it says, "Oh, do you want to open this one?" I'm like, "Yes." So I don't use a terminal file manager. No.
Do you use something like Zoxite to navigate around your system, or just classic CD?
No, classic CD.
I think there was one question regarding the server. I can read it out loud. So from Tessie, he was saying a question about the server feature. What are the intentions really? What is the use case for the server feature? He was saying like using it from the phone to connect remotely. But otherwise, he wanted more clarification on this. If you have use cases for the server.
For sure. So like the phone is a big one. In the recent release, we also kind of added a mobile interface. So I originally wanted to make the mobile interface as a Zellij plugin, so that the mobile interface will also be a terminal interface. Did not work well. Just the typing with fingers were on the phone, or with the text and font sizing. It's just like phones were not built for terminals, unfortunately. So we added a JavaScript CSS interface that allows you to switch sessions and switch panes and all that. But to the question, when the server kind of came out, then the cool thing about the server is that it allows you to differentiate between the sessions by their URL. So you will have localhost 8080 / my session name. And then you can give the sessions different names, of course, based on what you're doing. And this means you can also bookmark them in the browser. And then if you bookmark a session in the browser, then you kind of click on the bookmark and you're immediately inside that session. It's also built in a way that if the session is live, you land into the session. If the session doesn't exist, it kind of automatically creates a session with that name and you land into it. And if that session used to exist but died, then it resurrects it, because Zellij has like this resurrect feature that runs the session again with all the different panes, tabs, and commands you had running there before. I like when this just came out, I would use that extensively. I kind of miss this functionality. I still have a lot of bookmarks and tabs that still kind of have this, but I had to stop using it because when developing the web server, it just got too complex to have two web servers running, one for development, one for kind of my own stuff, and then doing one inside of the other. It was just I preferred to lose this cool feature and to be able to develop comfortably without constantly killing my own session.
I do have one question. So I use tmux, and there was one plugin I really like in tmux, which is called tmux-fingers. I don't know if you're familiar with it. The idea of tmux-fingers, and I think some terminals support this by default, like Kitty, is to have some kind of like detection for like URLs and stuff, and like you have a keybind, and then if you're a Vim user, so I'm assuming maybe you've tried Vimium in the browser at some point, maybe. But
not totally remember. Sorry.
yeah, in Vimium you have this this way of interacting with your browser where you hit a keybind and it will add like labels to all the links that you can then press the key and then trigger the action. And so tmux-fingers is pretty similar. It will add like some label to like text that it detects as URLs or UUIDs. And I was looking for a similar plugin on Zellij, but I did not really find an equivalent, and I was wondering if you knew of such an equivalent there.
I think you just got a link, right?
Oh my God, is it Zellij Social?
Cool. But this, like, to answer a bit more of your question, these sorts of use cases are something that was very important for me to add. I think this was a couple of releases ago. We added a plugin API to allow APIs to mark text in the terminal based on like regular expressions. So this API, with this API, you can essentially build something like this pretty easily, and also like do it kind of for the different stuff. So like I don't know, URLs. I think URLs we do out of the box. But if you want to add like a key binding for them, then like URLs will be in one color, UUIDs in a different color, IPs like whatever. They react differently if you hover the mouse over them. You can say specifically like make it italic when I hover the mouse over it, etc. And this is something that I'm like. It's a bit unfortunate for me that I have not seen many many plugins using this as extensively as I would have liked. Like with everything, it could be that I just need to, take a weekend, build a plugin like this to show people what's possible, and then let the community take it from there.
Yeah, and you said it was in the latest release, this new API for.
A few releases
Nice.
ago, yeah, it should have,
Okay.
should have happened by now, but it happens.
I'm just wondering, like, is there any like specific features that you want to see in Zellij in the future releases?
So are you talking short term or long term?
Both, like anything that you want to see happen in Zellij
So
in general.
I'll start short term. Short term, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while and actually came up, I think today. So with Zellij, you have layouts and plugins. Layouts, you can say, I want my terminal to look like this. This pane here, this plugin there. And in plugins, you have the sandbox experience of I want to run an application that I don't need to worry about its distribution. So I want to enable authors to make essentially distributions of Zellij to allow you to say, I want this layout and these plugins, and I want to wrap all of them in one executable. People don't even have to know that it is Zellij, and then you send it to different people. It's one executable that runs anywhere and has my terminal program and workspace inside of it. We have one project built on top of Zellij that is super cool. It's called Yazilix. It's you've heard of it, I see. And the Yazilix author actually had to. I found about this like a few days ago. Like he actually had to fork Zellij in order to essentially gain the same experience. And I'm like, I don't want you to have to do that. I want to give you the ability to do that like with core. So we're actually writing about that, and I hope to have that in the short term. Long term, yeah, I think this needs like a bit of an introduction. I'll share like a story about myself. I grew up in the 90s, and my first terminal experience was MS-DOS because that's what was like available. My dad was a programmer, so one day he comes home and installs Windows 95 on our computer. He shows it to me and like, hey, look at all these cool windows and GUI and UI and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, this is cute, but how do I go back to the terminal? And then you're like, oh, you open this window here and then you have a terminal. And I was like horrified. So this is what I kind of want to fix in the long term. I want Zellij to be your desktop environment. I want you to start your computer, and instead of dropping into KDE or GNOME or whatever, you will have Zellij. If you want to start a GUI application, we will have a layer for you, kind of a headless Wayland compositor is my current thought, that connects to your Inkscape or your browser or whatever and opens it in a pane, allowing you to do all the Zellij things with it, allowing you to automate it. And like then I think we will kind of like win this historical battle of the way things that need to be. The terminal needs to be the one that runs the GUI, not the other way around.
That would be amazing. I would love to see that day.
Yeah, that's an exciting idea, to say the least.
So I'm assuming that's Zellij 1.0.
Yes, this is more probably a 2.0. I think it's a
Okay.
huge project. But yeah, I'm like I have a branch. I'm working on it on the side.
Nice.
It will happen.
Okay.
So basically a Zellij desktop environment, Zellij OS.
Zellij OS.
Zellij OS.
Cool. Any questions from the chat or from you, Coco?
Yes, I did miss one from Tessie. He said, Zellij has sessions, tab, and panes. Do you consider something in between? Herder has workspaces, which is exactly that, especially useful in combination with work trees. It's not about LLMs agents, it's just another layer of organization. I'm not sure I see myself what those workspaces are, but
so I like I don't know what the Herder workspaces, what the Herder workspaces are, but I would like I would advise like I would advise you to look into a combination of stacked panes. And then perhaps, as like someone mentioned here in the chat, to have like a plugin that organizes them. So stack panes give you like the UI of this. You have a stack here that does like one job, a stack here that does another job. You can hide show them, and like kind of a plugin that manages them. I don't know what the UI experience is in Herder, so I can't answer to that.
I just remembered I have a bug in my Zellij layout that I need to submit at some point. I couldn't update yet because of that. I'll submit.
Oh.
Anything that you want to share with us? Any message to the world out there who are still stuck in the graphical user interface world, or anyone who's thinking of trying out Zellij but using tmux or anything like that? Anything you want to share before we wrap this up?
I think so, yeah. So I've seen over the years, this like is just kind of coming again and again and again, this discussion of tmux or Zellij, or like tabs inside the multiplexer or tabs inside the terminal, like emulator, like GUI tabs, or things of that sort. And like there's a lot of discussions that tend to become unpleasant and ugly. And I don't think it needs to be that way. I think my message is, as you asked, use the software that you love. Recommend the software that you love, discuss the software that you love, but accept that not everyone thinks like you. Some people love different software. Some of us, like as developers, we sometimes have this thought that certain piece of software is better than another piece of software, or is the natural evolution. Some people say that Zellij is the natural evolution of tmux, and it pains me to hear that every time. I think software, it's much more fun to look at it as a piece of art than a solution. And everyone loves different pieces of art, and it doesn't mean that people are right or wrong to use something.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this message, and also building Zellij, answering our questions, and everything you have done in open source. Thank you, Aram.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a great time.
Yep. We'll see you guys in another episode, I guess. Take care.
Sure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.